Unsung Murder Ballads discusses topics of a graphic nature and in graphic detail and may not be suitable for children under 13. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 42. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
So tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be doing a thing that we're going to call bite-sized murders. And this is what's cool about this is you're going to get to hear from all three of us in the same episode. And since Joyous decided to put it out as a challenge last time, definitely let us know in the comments which case you liked best.
And which person you like best.
You just want to be loved.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, obviously I want attention. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, but you're of the three of us, you're like the cute one. So of course you're gonna win. All right. So what we're gonna do, the way this is gonna work, it's very much like our 25th episode where each of us covered a different case. But in this instance, we're gonna do cases that we hope kind of have a similar theme. And we called it bite-sized murders because of how small they are. But two of our three cases tonight also involve cannibalism. So we thought that was kind of cool and funny. So
and thematically, I am eating steak.
Nice. I had tacos. Does that count?
I don't know. What kind of meat was it?
Chicken.
Well,
not the same.
Not the same. It's really the medium rare red meat that's really giving me themes right now.
Oh, God.
All right. So let's dive into this. I'll be going first with the case of, and I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. It's Ilshat Kuzikov. And he was born in 1960 in the Tajik SSR, which is today Tajikistan. He was reported to have had an unstable youth. Little is known of Kusikov's early years other than his obsession with surgery.
That's an interesting one.
It's definitely weird. Records from Tajikistan, where he grew up, shows that when Kusikov was 11, his father strangled his wife, Kusikov's mother. After that incident, to death. Yeah, his own father killed his mother when he was 11.
Yikes.
So after that, Kusikov and his brother were adopted by their aunt. Kusikov admitted that around that time, he and his brother started an incestuous homosexual relationship.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not your normal childhood.
I'd say.
He became obsessed with the human body and was able to orgasm while watching surgical operations on television hospital TV shows.
What?
My brother in Christ, please
dear
no.
God.
I can't even imagine.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
It reminds me of the Deadly Sin of Lust case with the guy with the kid and the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Seriously, what the fuck, Russia?
Truly, they are out here.
So Kusikov's poor school record made it impossible for him to realize his medical ambitions. And by the time his family moved to Leningrad, which is
Thank
today,
fucking God.
right?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I would hate to think of him as a doctor getting an erection while he's operating.
Oh, God.
You wake up, there's a foreign substance inside the heart.
Oh, no. I hate it so much.
No.
Bad brain.
All right. Yeah. By the time his family moved to Leningrad, which today is St. Petersburg, in the early 1970s, he just barely graduated from what is referred to as a low-grade technical college. He worked as a welder before claiming his pension. Records show that more than once he was turned down for work at a nearby morgue where he applied for the position of washing the corpses.
Why is that a specific position?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, I didn't know you could apply to be a corpse washer.
Right? It makes me think of Game of Thrones with Arya in the House of Black and White.
Yeah.
Then that looked kind of cool, so maybe that's what he thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm picturing him putting in a job application, and he's making up this job title. He's just writing on the top of it, corpse washer.
Funny. That'd be funny. Or he just comes off as super creepy, like he's sitting there at the interview and his leg is like bouncing up and down. He's got this shit-eating grin on his face.
He's like, can we go for a tour?
Can you just show me where you wash the corpses, please, please?
Can you? I just want to see one.
Can you leave me alone with it?
Oh God, that made my spine crawl.
Hey, at least you're not eating steak.
Yeah, the steak. It's hitting interestingly already.
Shortly after, in 1982, he committed his first known crime when he attacked a colleague with a wrench. But he somehow
Jesus, it's giving clue.
really weird. Yeah, clue. Somehow he avoided legal punishment, and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and forced to undergo treatment. He would later move to an apartment where he began a short-lived marriage.
You got married after that?
I'm sorry,
Impressive.
who in their right mind or wrong mind for that matter?
Probably someone in their wrong mind. You're right.
Yeah, we'll get to it. When the killings started, Kusikov's life was in turmoil. His wife, a former patient at the mental hospital,
There we go. There it is.
yep, had walked out on their 2-year marriage after he attacked her with a knife.
Well, good for her. Get out of there.
Yep.
You overcooked the steak. That's it. Knife attack.
His drinking level had reached that of an alcoholic. After his marriage failed, he began to spend time with local homeless people and acquaintances from the hospital he had previously been treated in, often inviting them to his apartment to drink vodka.
Classic Russian activities.
So one can only guess what was actually on his mind, but at this point in his life, Kusikov began eating dogs.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Leaving dead cats rotting in his apartment, and he began drinking his own urine.
Oh yeah, that's a nice topper.
Yep. Okay, so he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. In November of 1992, neighbors made the gruesome discovery of a human torso in the basement of a local house, and no one linked it to Kusikov.
Ooh.
Now, this is a quote from a neighbor. It was an open basement. Anyone could have come and dumped stuff there, said 72-year-old Olga Petrovna.
Oh, that's rough.
3 years later, so a whole 3 years goes by, the severed head of 37-year-old Misha Bochkov was found dumped in his building's complex in the communal trash, and the arms were discovered in a nearby burned out car.
Ooh.
Then, a month later, in August of that year, another severed head, later identified as a mental patient, 43-year-old Edek Vasilevsky, was found by Olga, his neighbor, while she was out walking her dog.
Oh, I feel awful for her. She just keeps finding this shit.
Right? Can you imagine? And she's not young.
No.
She said, again, it was about 7 a.m. and really quite hot. The dogs must have smelled it. It was horrible.
Ugh.
She said, there were also jars with other stuff that I thought were just old bits of meat.
Oh, no, I don't think they are.
No, she said, and she finished it with, you couldn't imagine that it was human.
Oh, God.
Fuck.
No.
Oh, I don't know what that means. I don't like it.
It means
So
nastiness.
Yeah. So in 1995, locals from the Mostovsky district began finding body parts thrown in garbage bags around the area.
Man, and like the police haven't searched anywhere.
Yeah, they must not be doing shit. They're like, just notate it.
Yeah, another body.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, it's the mid 90s. I think at this point, I think Russia collapsed at that point, or the USSR collapsed at that point. 95.
Your guess is as good as
yeah,
mine.
No, 95. Yeah, they weren't still the USSR, so they have no real money at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. That's societal collapse.
So at this point, though, investigators were quickly led to Kusikov, who left blood in the stairwell outside of his apartment, which neighbors complained had been omitting a rotten smell.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
it's literally a trail of blood from his apartment.
Yeah,
So
right. You can't get much more obvious, maybe, unless you drew an arrow in the blood.
literally, I think this is an open and shut case, my brothers.
So spotting Kuzikov's name and that of his first and last victims on the register for the same mental hospital.
Mm.
Yeah, again, can't get much easier than this.
Mhm.
The St. Petersburg police finally lumbered into action. They cut
About time.
off. Well, here's my favorite part: is they don't just kick in his door like they would in the U.S. They cut off the water to his apartment, and then posing as plumbers, they went and knocked on his door.
That's hilarious. That is incredible.
That was their big plan. However, Kuzikov wouldn't open the door, so they had to kick it in anyway.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
Officers are quoted saying that Kusikov did not try to deny any of it. He was quite open about it when they asked and kind of looked around his apartment.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he wasn't trying to hide it.
The walls inside his apartment were decorated with
No.
posters of fluffy kittens.
That was going to take a much darker
Did
turn in
not
my
think you were
head.
gonna say that.
I
Much
know.
darker turn.
And a poster of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Who's that?
He's like an 80s, 90s action movie star. Picture like Sylvester Stallone, but not quite as talented as an actor.
Okay, sorry. I did a quick Google. So this guy and fluffy kittens.
Yes, that's
Fascinating.
what's on this guy's wall. Exactly. They also found soda bottles full of blood,
Ew.
an old pickle jar that was used to store pieces of dried skin and ears.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
On the balcony was an aluminum pot containing shasliki, which are Russian kebabs skewered with onions and ready to cook.
So he was going to have human kebab?
He was going to have human kebabs.
Oh, that's fucking
And,
nasty.
and those kebabs were all that was left of Edik, one of his victims.
Ooh, that's awful.
In his poorly furnished apartment, police discovered dried human skin and buckets of cooked human flesh.
No.
Ooh.
Kuzikov claimed to have killed them because he was too poor to afford enough food with his $20 monthly pension, and that each victim was murdered and then dismembered in his bathroom.
He is just open about this.
Yeah, he doesn't have any shame, or he probably doesn't even think he really did anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he
True psychopath.
obviously is unwell.
Well, yeah, the whole drinking his own urine thing, definitely.
Yeah.
Unwell. In his confession, Kusikov has already described how he murdered his victims. This is his description. The murders always took place on the day he received his disability pension from the hospital. Kusikov was diagnosed schizophrenic in the 1980s and received a monthly payment. He then would go out and ask a friend for vodka, like ask them back. His first was Sasha Pikchonkin, and Sasha is a man, by the way. When they were both very drunk, Kusikov would make a homosexual advance, which, if refused, sent him into a murderous rage.
Yikes, that's awful.
The fate of Sasha, whose last name ironically means liver, was typical of Kusikov's MO.
Oh.
He was slumped over the table, and Kusikov struck him in the back of the head with a knife handle before slitting his throat.
Oh.
Nice and quick.
He then stripped himself and his victim.
Oh no.
Selected one of a dozen cleavers from a cardboard box and began dismembering the body. He's quoted as saying, "You know, I always wanted to be a surgeon, but it's better to be a cannibal."
Okay.
What the Oh God.
The quote's not even done yet. He continues, "If you are a surgeon, you have to put the body back together and you stop having any control over it.
Huh.
But a cannibal kills and then he can do what he wants with the body. After he kills, he owns it forever." Unquote. This
No.
guy is so fucked up. Contemporary newspapers claimed he was homosexual and engaged in bestiality and killed his victims for refusing to engage in sexual acts. However, the truth behind those rumors are unsubstantiated. Kusikov only claimed to have done that with the first guy, so it's not clear if he did it with everyone.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, everything that we've learned over this time is like sometimes they kill one person and then they decide that that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, they just like it too much.
But it makes sense that especially in this era that a lot of it would be blamed on like gay panic and be like, this is an evil gay person. And
right. And it's
especially like in that culture.
Yeah, 9 days in Russia. I mean, it's still illegal in Russia today.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
exactly.
So it makes sense. Yeah. Kusikov would be connected to a minimum of 3 murders, though due to the quantity of meat in his apartment.
No, don't say it like that.
He was suspected of committing several more.
Well, stop laughing. You're fun.
In an interview, Kusikov gave a recipe. Are you ready? Put your food down. First, you fry the meat in one saucepan with a little oil. The liver is best.
No, I doubt it. I don't believe him.
Then,
fuck him. He's lying.
In another pot, you fry onions. You put them together with either stock or water and simmer for a half an hour. This was the food he had removed from another person's body with his own hands. Kusikov was selective in his choice of cuts. He didn't eat the limbs, the heads, the bowels, or the genitals.
But he ate the liver?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't get the
this
liver.
man really is
a classy
nuts.
cannibal. You know, he has some respect for himself.
Yes, he's
I'm sorry, he's eating liver and onions, and that's his delectable meal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't buy it either because I hate liver. Regardless of
liver's
where it
not
comes from.
good. Sorry to the foodies in the audience, but
although didn't Hannibal Lecter say he liked liver and fava beans?
Ew.
Yeah, that was the movie Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
And
I think I blocked out most of that movie because it's upsetting.
I love that movie. That was the first time that movie I saw that in the theater, and that was my first taste of anything involving serial killers, and it's all been downhill ever since.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
There's a police video shoot in his one-room apartment focused on a bag near the door containing 2 legs severed from below the knee and 2 forearms cut from the elbow. So another of Kusikov's neighbors, 72-year-old Lyubov Polanova, who lived through the 900-day blockade of Leningrad during World War II, hardly batted an eye when recounting the ghoulish activities that took place in his flat.
Oh my God.
But she said, quote, "Of course it's terrible, but during those times, I can tell you, I was glad to eat cats and dogs. Everyone knew that some were forced to eat relatives who had died. That or they die themselves," unquote.
That's all kinds of special.
Well,
it's horrifying, but that is the reality.
True. I mean, but there's a world of difference between what you have to do during war and what this guy's doing.
100%, but it makes sense why it's less shocking to someone who's experienced that.
Yeah, that's true. You're 100% right. So in March of 1997, Kusikov was sentenced to compulsory treatment at a psychiatric hospital in St. Petersburg. Most sources suggest that he died in the early 2000s. However, there is no definitive information on his fate right now. We do not know if he's alive or dead, what Russia did with him.
That would be insane if he's still alive.
Yeah, there's zero information other than some sources say he died in the early 2000s, but we really don't know.
Wow.
It'd be crazy if he was working for the government. Like he's in charge of like military chow.
No.
And that is the case of Ilshat Kuzikov. That is my part of these bite-sized murders.
Oh,
it's my
turn
a good one. Pun.
I like it.
Yes. So, Jameson, you're up next. Yes.
All right. Yes, I am. I am going to do the case of Tamara Samsonova. She was born on April 25th, 1947, in the town of Uzmar. After graduating high school, she arrived in Moscow and attended the Moscow State Linguistics University. After graduating, she moved to St. Petersburg, where she met her husband, Alexei Samsonova. She worked for the Interest Travel Agency, particularly in the Grand Hotel Europe. So by the time she retired, she had 16 years of experience.
Pretty early retirement.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty impressive that, she acquired all that knowledge and she was able to do that for as long as she did.
True.
So in 2000, her husband disappeared. Tamara went to the police, but nothing happened. Everything came up empty. There were no leads. There was nothing.
Abducted by aliens or something.
I don't know. Once again, the police at their finest there didn't seem to do much or seem to care.
I was going to say we've already established that the St. Petersburg police need a blood trail to catch a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a very direct one, you can't.
Very direct.
So 15 years later, in 2015, Tamara returns to the authorities, not the same St. Petersburg ones. She goes to the Frinsky district, which is different from where she had gone before. And this time she gives her a statement about her disappearance of her husband. Apparently she hadn't said much before. She just kind of went in before and said, hey, he's missing. I'm not sure what to do.
And she waited 15 years to report it again?
Apparently. I'm not quite sure why she waited that long.
She probably didn't miss him that much.
Yeah, maybe she's got like dementia.
Apparently he wasn't worth
something.
much.
Maybe he came back and she just forgot to tell police she found him and then he disappeared again.
She's like, oh, yeah. Sorry about that. You closed that old case. Got a new one for you.
Yeah, it's the same exact case, but it's a little different this time.
So apparently, it wasn't a big deal for her, or at least it didn't seem to be a big deal for her, because after her husband's disappearance, she started renting out a bedroom in her apartment.
So
gotta make ends meet.
Yeah, Airbnb Russia, I get it.
But also, like, without an income, she's kind of got to do that.
Yeah, because she's going to be really old at this point.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what they said her age was at that point, but yeah, I'm guessing she was up there.
Well, she was born in 47, and we're talking 2015.
2000. Yep.
So she's like 60.
Now, the timeline on this was a little screwy to me, but according to investigators, she had killed her first tenant in September. Her first tenant in September of 2003. I'm guessing that she was a little bit younger.
Okay, so it sounds like she started renting out the apartment after he disappeared the first time.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So he disappeared in 2003. She's like, okay, I need to make money, or I need to make ends meet, or whatever she needed. And she decided, okay, I'm going to rent this out. But she got into an argument with her first tenant and decided, you know what? That's it. You're done.
Wow. Can I do that?
So the tenant was a 44-year-old resident of Norslick. In heartless fashion, because she's such a wonderful person, she dismembered the corpse and decided that she was just going to start dumping it little bits by little bits.
Oh, that's an interesting strategy she went with.
Just, probably stick it in her pocket, or, like little handfuls of rocks,
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you have little bits of it and you're just dropping it on the street. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not paying attention, I would want to, if I saw somebody drop something, I'd be like, ooh, what was that?
Maybe.
Yeah, like, pardon me, miss. You dropped something.
Yeah, you dropped something, and then she takes off running. So in March of 2015, Tamara met 79-year-old Valentina Olvina, who lived on the same street as Tamara. So they both became friends, and Tamara convinced her to let her move in with Valentina because she claimed that they were doing work on her apartment, and she was like, hey, can I move in with you? And Valentina was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Tamara, offered to do the housework and helped with all kinds of stuff around the house, and, it was somewhat helpful, but she stayed for several months, and she was, starting to wear out her welcome kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as most people who take advantage of people, Tamara started to get comfortable, and she didn't feel like leaving. She was going to make sure that she didn't have to leave.
Oh, no.
So there were a lot of fights between Tamara and Valentina. and their friendship just started to fall apart. And after one particular conflict, Tamara decides, you know what? I've had enough of Valentina. We're gonna poison her.
Jesus.
I was going to say, why not? You've probably gotten away with killing your husband and your first roommate, so why not this one too?
Tamara goes to a pharmacist and persuades the pharmacist to sell her a drug called fenzapan. And for those who don't know who,
Phenazepam?
yes, that one.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah,
the
why do you know about that,
pronunciation.
Janice?
I don't know. It just sounded like what he was saying, but just off a little.
Yeah, true. It's like if you put it in like drug vernacular, yeah, that sounds more like a drug name.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And for those who don't know, this drug is for the treatment of various mental disorders and anxiety.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
thanks for calling me out, Joyous.
Yeah, I thought it was like a murder drug, and I was like, why do you know about that?
No, it's to keep me stable.
All right, well, you know what? It's a noble pursuit.
All right, Joyce. Well, your previous comment is not a little far off, because what Tamara did is she bought Valentina's favorite food, which was a salad, crushed up the pills and put them in there and fed her the salad.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Poison method via salad.
Yeah, that's a weird
right.
one.
Yeah.
Can't say I've ever heard that one before.
I mean, I guess if the dressing is thick enough, he won't notice.
Well, I
Creamy
mean, if you
Caesar.
crush it up like croutons or like,
Croutons, like it's going to be white or blue, or it's not going to be like bread.
well,
I don't know
mean,
what
if you mask it.
phenazepam looks like, but
So Tamara later found Valentina's body lying on the kitchen floor on
Oh
the night of.
no! I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, exactly. She was alive just a minute ago. So she found the body on July 25th and proceeded to dismember it with knives and a saw.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. She first sawed off Valentina's head, and then the rest of the body she sheared into pieces using the
Okay.
knives.
Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't.
She
gonna
sounds like
leave.
she's good at this.
She sounds like she's making a human salad. So she would take trash bags out of the apartment with some of the limbs that she had chopped off, the ones apparently that she decided not to shear and not to use and not to destroy, but she did leave certain body parts scattered all over the house.
Careless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The following day, on July 26th, Valentina's decapitated body and limbs, which were wrapped in a bathroom curtain, were found in a pond on the street where both Tamara and Valentina lived.
Yeah, clearly none of these people are really covering their tracks.
This is awful. Like, who does that? Like, you just like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go down the road to that pond. That'll be a good place to hide this.
Ugh.
Or she wasn't strong enough, or she was lazy, or any of the
Yeah,
above.
could be any of that.
Now, this next fact just kind of proves the incompetence of the police even further. So Valentina's body was identified not through anything fancy, not through any kind of forensics, not through anything official.
Was it a blood trail?
It was identified by surveying the residents of that street.
Okay.
Wow, well, did they make everyone on the street like come look at the body? That's fucked.
Well, I mean, they probably just knocked on the door and they're like, "Hey, have you seen this woman, or do you know
yeah,
this
or like, is
woman?"
anyone missing?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so when they got to Valentina's residence, Tamara answered. Yeah. So for one reason or another, the police found it deemable, whether worthy cause or whatever, to enter the apartment. And they found traces of blood in the bathroom. And they found one of the fastenings to the bathroom curtain missing. It had been torn off. And that right there was enough for them to arrest Tamara.
It's funny that you went out of your way to say the police in Russia may have had probable cause to enter her apartment. I'm not sure probable cause exists in Russia. Like, I think
maybe
they can
it is
always
at this
just
time.
enter.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. It wasn't clear, so that's what I read it as. But now looking back on it, it is a whole different circumstance and different ways of doing stuff. So yeah, they probably just were like, nope, we're coming in. So on July 29th, Tamara was brought to district court in St. Petersburg, and Tamara was required to go under a psych eval.
Mm-hmm.
And results came back that she was a danger to obviously herself and the public, and was put into a specialized institution until the end of the investigation.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It sounds like where she belongs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they put it, though, a specialized institution.
Probably should be pretty specialized. That's a
Yeah.
special case you're working with there.
In December 2015, Tamara was sent for compulsory psych evals, and she is being investigated for 14 murders.
What?
Wow. Okay.
Oh my God, that's way more than I was expecting.
Yeah, how many tenants did she have? That's the real question.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly the
Yep.
landlord from hell.
Right.
Oh, God. According to media reports, there was a journal found detailing some of the murders.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can only imagine what kind of details were in there, but
Yeah.
they didn't go into detail about the details. And that is the bite-sized case of Tamara Samsonova.
Damn. So we don't know if
Interesting.
like was convicted or
Yeah, that's where it ended. That's where it's
I think they're
God.
probably still holding her in that
Yeah, that makes
psychiatric
sense.
hospital. Yeah. They're similar
Oof.
to that guy with the dolls. I don't think they'll ever let her out.
Probably never will be appropriate to.
Right. And I 100% agree with that. That's crazy shit.
Deeply. Ugh.
All right. So, Joyous, it's your turn for your bite-sized case.
It's time to talk about the case of the Garanhun Cannibals.
Nice.
This story begins with our friend Jorge Beltrao Negromonte da Silveira.
Wow.
So he was born in 1962 to Portuguese immigrants in Portugal. He spent his early life in Portugal before returning to live in Brazil.
Now say his name like 10 times really fast.
Jorge
No.
Beltrao Negromonte da Silveira.
Okay, no, don't.
his name 10 times fast.
See, you and your puns, your dad jokes.
Always. All right. So another case of troubled youth. While he was a teenager, he killed a 17-year-old named Luciano Severino da Silva, but he was acquitted of the murder charges due to a lack of evidence.
Wow, so this guy's awesome. He's right off the bat, not even
Starting off murdering.
Wow.
So he later attempted to kill his elderly mother and then stole 80,000 reals. I'm not exactly sure what that is in USD, but that's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, as of right now, it's roughly 5 reals per dollar. So if you divide that by 5,
oh, gotcha.
That's what you'll get for dollars.
Gotcha. So that would be like 16K. But where he is, that was enough to buy himself a house.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, damn.
Probably a small one.
I was going to say, and this was back in the 80s, so that probably felt like a lot more money too.
Right. Like $16,000 in the 80s, man. People were living large back then.
Yeah, you could probably get it, especially in Brazil. That's probably a lot of money.
Yeah. Ugh, man. The times we live in. All right. So the second person in this story, Isabel Cristina Pires de Silveira, was born in 1962 into an impoverished Mormon family, which could not afford tuition to go to a school. So Pires, known as Belle for Isabel, spent most of her childhood just taking care of chores around the house.
Mormons in Brazil. That sounds weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, they're surprisingly spread.
I mean, I'm sure. It's just weird. Like, I don't think I've ever met I haven't met too many Brazilians, but I've never met a Mormon Brazilian.
Yeah. I guess I haven't met too many Mormons.
Unfortunately, I've met probably 12 to 15 throughout my life. They, for whatever reason, people seem to want to convert me.
Well, you seem like you need Jesus, so I'm not going to lie.
I probably do.
Quick sidebar. I think that you're losing your pronunciation duties there, Janus.
Oh, yeah. She's much, much better at this than I am.
Yeah, I'm just so worldly. Anyway, all right. So back to the case. So both of them actually were Mormon, and both of them were attending the local Mormon church, and they fell in love. And the pair decided to get married in 1984. So they were both 22.
Wow.
And then to start off the marriage strong, at the wedding reception, he had a fit and he threatened to kill all of the guests with a knife, which then forced the couple to isolate themselves from all others after that. Obviously, no one wanted them in their life after that.
Wow. That's one hell of a way to start off a marriage right there.
Really with a bang, huh? All right. So the third person in this story is Bruna Cristina Oliveira da Silva. She was born in 1992 in Natal, also in Brazil. And the 16-year-old met Negromonte at a gym where he was a teacher. But
Probably
she was
some
born,
grooming going on.
yeah, she was born in 92. And so if she was 16, then this is 2008. So he is in his mid 40s.
Yeah, I was going to say like 50-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If my quick math is good. But they fell in love. But because he was already married, he and his wife accepted the proposal to form a love triangle between them.
Wow. Okay, so progressive polyamorous people
I
here.
wouldn't say that. It's more of a Mormon polygamy situation.
Oh, right. I forgot about the Mormon thing. Right. Right.
Okay, goldfish. I was just talking about it. I love where your head is at, but no.
I was giving him more credit. I don't know.
You were, but no, this is she is 16. So no.
So that fits with the Mormons. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's goes along with things that I have heard before. So everyone accepts and they start this, polygamous marriage. At one point, he tried to form a sect called the Cartel. So his kind of sect of Mormonism, which
Wow.
aimed to, quote, purify the world and protect the earth from overpopulation.
Nice. So what the hell does that even mean?
Funny you should ask. As part of the purification process, the sect had to consume human flesh and kill 4 victims in correspondence to the 4 natural elements: air, earth, water, and fire.
Wow.
Whoa.
So I guess overpopulation protection via murder is the vibe.
It sounds like a large group of people we knew during World War II.
Indeed. So, according to Negromonte, who supposedly received commands from an angel and a cherub.
And a cherub.
And a cherub, both.
Okay.
Yeah, just throw the cherub in there for an extra.
Well, it's going to be cute or the murder's not going to work. No one buys a murder without a cherub. I mean, come on.
Right. So after he successfully completed his task, a portal to paradise would be opened and they could all ascend to the next plane of existence.
I love when these people buy into stupid shit like that.
I can't believe that.
Man, I watch so many cult documentaries that I'm like, oh yeah, is that all?
Yeah, like the ones where like they're all gonna kill themselves and transport to a comet that's passing by.
Yeah, it's always something.
Like the idiots standing in Dallas waiting for JFK Jr. to reincarnate there. Not his father who died there, but his son. Idiots.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell at this point, the cartel, quote unquote, this sect is just the 3 of them.
Makes sense. He's probably not recruiting too many other people for that.
Right. And whoever they're recruiting / murdering.
Right.
So on May 26th, 2008, they invited a 17-year-old Jessica Camila de Silva Pereira into their house. At the time, she was homeless and accompanied by her 1-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's not going to end well.
No, it's unfortunately not.
Maybe that's the cherub that haunts him. I mean,
oh God,
to him.
I hope so. So at one point when she was not paying attention, she was struck on the head and dragged to the bathroom where her jugular vein was cut with a knife.
Oh,
wow! Which one of the elements did that one account for?
Water?
Maybe
well,
water.
That's a good question. I don't really understand the theming necessarily. I'll continue and it might make sense.
Okay.
So they drained her body of blood and they dismembered her body and sliced up I don't want to call it, they sliced up her body and I hate the M word. I don't want to call it meat. It's horrible. And stored her body in a refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
And the next day they seasoned her body and ate it after it had been grilled.
Wow.
And the worst and this part is the worst for me, is that they gave some of this cooked body to her daughter. They fed it to her 1-year-old child.
Oh, man. Can a 1-year-old even eat meat?
I was asking myself the same question. I think apparently...
I don't think so.
Apparently they start eating solid food around like 8 months. So it's reason. Also, we don't know, like, it could be 1 year, it could be a year and a half. Like, I don't know exactly how old.
Yeah, but I'm just in my head. I guess if it was a small enough piece, if the baby swallowed it, it wouldn't choke. But it's just that's fucked up.
Well,
Regardless,
I don't think they were too worried about the well-being.
Yeah, that's true too.
So they buried the rest of her remains in the shape of a cross in the backyard. And then some parts of her remains were also thrown into the trash.
That's fucked up.
And then they moved along. They took De Silva's daughter with them, they're now treating as their daughter, and they moved to a different city called Conde.
Yeah, like it was nothing. Like,
Like,
yeah,
it was
we
nothing.
just
They
had a
left
nice little
her
meal.
buried in the backyard.
Oh God.
Well, I guess if
Yeah.
if no one in their life after their wedding was talking to them, who's there to question them if that's about that not being their daughter?
Right.
That's
And
so
it's young enough to, like,
fucked.
I don't know, they could probably still convince authorities that it's their child or whatever.
Right. That's so fucked.
Yeah.
Although they're so old, I mean, I guess 40 to 50-ish isn't really late to have a baby, but it would be suspect. You know, you'd be
It also
looking at
could be
her.
the 16-year-olds.
Ah, that's true too. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Never mind. You're right.
So by early 2012, the trio had moved to Jardim Petropolis neighborhood, which was in the city of, I actually might be saying this one wrong, of Garanhuns.
Okay. I mean, that sounds about right, but
It's what it looks like. And so they resumed their crimes there. In February of that year, they abducted and killed 31-year-old Gisele Helena de Silva, followed shortly afterwards by 20-year-old Alexandra de Silva Falcao on March
Wow.
15th. So they are going one after the other.
yeah, one a month at that point. Holy shit.
Yes. The remains of both women was used to make savory snacks such as meat pies, which were then sold to locals. So they were selling.
This is some Sweeney Todd shit.
I was gonna
right
say
here.
you should
Oh, you
love
beat
this
me
one.
to it. Yeah, this is literally.
I'm surprised you don't do more Sweeney Todd style.
How many cases
episodes.
have I brought up
Yeah,
Sweeney
right.
Todd? It's really Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one Sweeney Todd. So, the next story I tell is actually just going to be an elaborate retelling of Sweeney Todd, and you're going to have to.
That'd be funny. We'll just do it on April Fool's Day.
There you go.
I'll just
Everyone-
tell the story of a horror movie. That'd be a good one.
They'll be sitting there like, I think I know this.
I've heard this story before, and then I start singing.
Oh God.
If I'm
Attend the
tempted.
chance, Sweeney Todd.
I'm tempted to learn the songs from Sweeney Todd, and we should fucking do it.
You don't
Yeah.
already know them. I have the whole thing memorized.
No, I stopped listening to musicals a while back, so I really don't remember many songs anymore.
Fair enough. According to interviews conducted by reporters, some of the residents who had eaten the snacks claimed that they tasted normal, while others claimed that the patty was too salty or doughy.
Okay.
Weird vibes.
Definitely weird vibes. Like they put too much salt on this tender piece of person.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, under what context did they say that? Where a reporter came up and said, these local snacks, what do you think of them? Like,
Yeah,
or were
before
they
you
telling them
tell
what
them.
it was?
Yeah, like, that'd be so fucked up. It was a little doughy. Why? What's wrong with it?
Oh,
Your neighbor
That's-
was in it.
so disturbing.
This is your neighbor.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I hate it. So shortly after the disappearance of Gisele, who was the one who was killed in March, her family reported the case to the police. So they began an investigation. So I guess none of these other ones had triggered an investigation for some reason.
Must not have had family or something.
So they had no viable leads until the end of March, when her family members received a credit card bill indicating several purchases in Garanhuns.
Oh, weird. So they're stupid killers.
Yeah, they're dumb. They're like using her credit card. So the officers were dispatched to the stores where the purchases had occurred, and then they looked through security footage to find and identify the trio.
Oh, at least they're smart enough to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some competent police.
We had to go all the way to Brazil to find it.
Well, you know what? We'll recognize it when we see it. So then on April 9th, 2012, arrest and seizure warrants were issued for all three of them, as there was a suspicion that the two women who had went missing were inside their residence. They were then arrested on scene, and Jessica De Silva's 5-year-old daughter, who was still with them, told one of the officers that her, quote, father had killed 2 women and described the crime scene in detail.
Wow. They did it in front of her.
Whoa.
In front of her, which is so fucking sad.
But you know what? In a fucked up way, if they don't think they're doing anything wrong, especially if he truly believes he's hearing fucking cherubs and angels, he probably thought he was helping prepare her for her own killing someday.
Hate that.
Yeah. Like not her as the victim, her as the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. It's fucked
Yeah.
up.
So shortly after their arrest, one of them admitted responsibility for the crimes and told the police where the women had been buried. And then upon exhuming them, authorities found their remains and found that they had both been dismembered.
Well, if they're using them as food supply, I dismembering just seems to come with that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't know that yet.
Gotcha.
So a day later, the house was vandalized and then set on fire by outraged residents, which is kind of like they're obviously angry and not thinking about like, don't they want these people to be convicted? Like, why are you destroying evidence?
Right. Instead of the police fucking up the crime scene, angry neighbors destroyed it.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
But luckily they weren't successful, and this didn't end up interfering with the investigators' work.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So in some of that investigation led to locating the child's birth certificate so they could find out who she is and allow her to be placed under the care of the Guardianship Council, which I'm guessing is just their child protective services.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised they were stupid enough to keep the birth certificate. But I guess you guess you probably need that at some point if you're going to try to get her in school.
Exactly. Yeah. So it probably helps them to have that.
Or like if they wanted to leave the country or something, they would need it for a passport, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So they found the child's birth certificate, and they eventually found her mother's remains that were recovered and identified with the help of DNA evidence.
That's so sad.
It's really sad. This poor kid. So on November 14th, 2014, the trio were convicted of killing Jessica De Silva by a jury. So Negromonte was sentenced to 21 years and 6 months, which I'm surprised that this was not a life sentence, honestly.
That's a crazy low number.
Right, with an additional year and 6 months in solitary confinement.
Holy crap.
And then his 2 wives, Pires and Oliveira, received 19 years imprisonment each and a year of solitary confinement.
So I guess the question is, does that time in solitary confinement happen all at once at the beginning or the end, or is it spread out? It's kind of a weird punishment.
It is. It's interesting because I don't know. I mean, I obviously don't know how it works there, but there's more. So that was only for the killing of Jessica De Silva.
Oh, it's only one. I thought that was the entire thing. Okay.
No,
cool.
So it was a separate trial. So they were all jointly put on trial for the other 2 deaths on December 15th, 2018. And then they were again found guilty on all counts. So Negromonte was sentenced to an additional 71 years, which is more appropriate, I think. Oliveira to 71 years and 10 months, and Pires to 68 years.
Wow.
Damn.
So now we're really looking at life sentences. And then the next year in 2019, the trial court actually ordered that the trio sentences for the first murder should be increased, which I'm kind of surprised because at this point they all have life sentences.
Yeah, but what's the point of that? But I guess they want it on the record.
Yeah. So as a result, Negromonte's sentence was changed to 27 years imprisonment, while Pires and Oliveira's were increased to 24 years. So
they each
it's only a few more added years.
That's
so I don't know
weird.
why they even bothered using the court's time for that, but sometimes it's good to set a precedent, I guess.
Yeah, it's still weird though.
Yeah. Later, after being diagnosed as schizophrenic, Negromonte was placed in psychiatric care where he remains to this day. Since then, he has written a book with the help of hospital staff titled Revelations of a Schizophrenic, consisting of 34 short chapters describing in detail the events from his early life on into his life up to his incarceration.
Wow.
I wonder how many people actually bought that.
Well, I'm wondering if he made any money off of it, because I know here in the US, like killers can't make money off of stuff like that.
Right. And I also don't know if that's really his angle.
Huh. Okay. He's just maybe he's a narcissist and just wanted it out there. It's
Yeah.
weird to me.
He's also written 3 other books since then.
Oh my God.
Prolific writer, I guess. So that is the case of the Garanhun Cannibals.
That's crazy. And you know what's interesting is I'm researching another case from Brazil that took place decades before this one when they got caught. And the case I'm researching actually changed the laws in Brazil regarding murder.
Oh,
Holy
interesting.
crap.
I always love learning about those cases that end up changing the law and changing things.
Yeah, apparently, and I don't want to be going into too much detail, but apparently I would say not, I think it was the early 90s that the law changed. But either way, at some point in Brazil's history, the laws for murder were actually less than that of property crime.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
So, for an example, and not just property crime, like other forms of crime. So if let's say I was stealing from your home, or let's say you caught me setting your home on fire, or maybe, I don't know, stealing your cattle or something, I would actually get in less trouble for killing you and getting caught than I would for getting caught for doing all those other crimes.
Well, that's just twisted.
Yeah, there was a cap on the number of years you could be convicted of murder, but there was not, like, the caps on the other crimes were not as low. So, and that was, so there's this whole push. I'm going to go into it more when I finally finalize my research on this other case, but it blew my mind how sad it was that the punishment for murder in Brazil was so low. So hearing these numbers kind of blew my mind, but then I had to look at the year. I'm like, oh yeah, right. That's the result of that change.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's crazy. Well, I mean, it follows suit with patterns that we see in the law of the United States where human life is valued less than capital.
Yeah.
Where like you get in more trouble. I mean, when you see police behavior at protests, that's a big place I've seen it, is police aren't there to protect the people. They're there to prevent people from damaging private property.
Right.
And that's how it works.
Right. But it's funny because it's not just that they're there to protect, you from damaging property. It's actually more they're there to protect the insurance companies that will have to pay out to the people who own the property that you destroy. It's so fucked up.
That's like, yeah, I mean, that ends up being the function of the government is to protect money and capital and not
the status
people.
Quo. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't want to disrupt the status quo.
They sure don't want us to.
No, they certainly don't. Wow. Well, that was an interesting case. And I got to give you credit for how well you pronounce those Brazilian names.
I was very impressed. I really was.
I don't think I was even doing it that well, but I guess the bar is low.
Oh,
wow. Hey, I did really well with the Junko Furuta case with pronouncing Japanese names, so I'll give
you
myself
did, and honestly, you did a good one. Good job with the Russian ones today too.
Yeah, the Russian ones have gotten easier, but the Brazilian ones, that blew my mind.
Well, you know me, I'm a polyglot, so I'm just so talented.
No, that was good. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Nice.
So, all right. So thank you everybody for listening to our very first bite-sized murder episode. Make sure you give us your feedback. We do plan on doing these every so often, mixing it up a little bit with the murder fumbles and another idea we have coming up. So certainly let us know not only, again, what you thought, but which case you liked best. And since Joyous wants it to be a super challenge, which one of us you liked best presenting. So, all right. But thank you guys again. I am Janus Dead.
I'm Jameson Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.